My name is Clifton, or as you may know me, Slide 66. I'm a bored college student living in one of America's most haunted cities, Charleston, South Carolina. So what better to do than to visit some of Charleston's most haunted locations? This is Chucktown Horrors. Charleston, a city that is known for its beautiful homes, elaborate churches, and military history. Over 4 million tourists visit the city each year to partake in its everlasting southern charm. But as darkness falls across the town, Charleston transforms itself into a much different light. Graveyards, alleyways, parks, and old buildings all appear in an ominous way that is much unnoticed. Countless locals have experienced all kinds of paranormal activity, from voices to possessions and full-body apparitions. This is why Charleston is not only known as the Holy City, but also one of the most haunted cities in America. We begin our journey in what is known as the Old Jail. Built in 1790, it served as both a jail and an asylum. While it was intended to hold around 130 prisoners, over 300 were usually kept there. In some rooms, multiple prisoners were locked up in cages that were barely large enough for one person.
These folks are so violent towards one another and towards the guards. They have to be isolated. The easiest way to isolate people? Caging them.
Disease spread quickly due to the harsh conditions. Torture and rape were common occurrences for all the prisoners. During its operation until 1939, over 10,000 people died on the property. After the tour of the building, I asked the tour guide what the most common paranormal occurrences were on the property.
Hearing noises like extra footsteps, hair tugging, shirt tugging, things like that. Feeling like, again, someone's like behind you or staring at you, and we've all gotten that feeling just walking around in the middle of the day and you look over your shoulder just because it's a habit. That's probably one of the more common ones. It's feeling like someone's following you or watching you.
During the tour, she pointed out the room that she considered to be the most haunted.
Well, in my opinion, I believe that the old classroom is actually haunted, and the reason is that room has seen more senseless death than any other room in this entire building.
During the tour, I managed to capture many interesting photographs, some of which I cannot explain. Others, however, have not been so lucky.
A gentleman came on my tour last night, and he said he went on the tour several years back, and he asked me if anything has ever occurred with cameras, and I asked him why. He said he had his camera destroyed. I said, like, the batteries died, were they drained, where the cameras come out, pictures come out fuzzy. He goes, no, it was a regular loaded camera with regular film, not digital. And something broke on the inside while on the tour, and the people at Nikon were completely baffled by it. They could not understand what was actually wrong with the camera.
Whatever the case, the old jail gives off an eerie feel that makes one question if the victims of the horrible cruelties administered here live on in agony and terror. Our second stop is the Provost Dungeon, underneath the old exchange building. It was built in 1781 and used as a prison for some of the most dangerous criminals, including pirates and serial killers. The conditions were terrible. It was cold and damp, and ill prisoners went untreated. The dungeon was also used to keep men and women who were accused of giving inside intelligence to Americans by the British. Many of these people never made it out of the dungeon. Although the dungeon has since been turned into a museum, many believe the area is still haunted. Some common paranormal activity includes reports of moans and cries.
Any number of occasions people taking photographs show me things I can't explain. See a lot of these floating orbs of light. It's something I've only seen one time. A fellow was taking a picture of his family. They were lined up, and there on the end, head high, was an oval of fire. Not an orb, but an oval, like the shape of a face. And sure enough, there as they zoomed in on it, like you can in digitals, there were 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth.
Some have witnessed chains lightly swinging back and forth for no apparent reason.
About halfway through the tour, a young lady was seated on one of the little barrel seats back there, and jumps up and lets out a scream. And she looks around rather embarrassed-like and asked her, and she said, well, I was seated there. I felt someone push me from behind, and when I turned around, there was no one there. I just tell people I'm too old to never say never about anything. Kind of make of it whatever they choose to.
Thanks for watching, and tune in next week for a brand new episode of Chucktown Horrors.